the straps in place on the right side of the shell, making sure they're not twisting as they wrap around the back. The front strap position is centered at the top of the peaks or at the top of the V-neck, and the back strap position is at the notch closest to the side seam. Once you have your straps pinned in place, take the bodice to your sewing machine and baste across the top of the straps to secure them in place for the next step. Place the facing over top of the shell, sandwiching the straps in between the two layers. Pin the two layers together as needed, matching up your side seams, center front, and center back notches. Starting at the side seam, sew around the top edge of the front and back bodice, seaming together the shell and the facing with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Open up your bodice and understitch the seam allowance towards the facing. I like to start at the side seam, sewing around the back of the bodice and stopping as high as I can on one of the front peaks. You won't be able to make it to the very tippy top, but you want to get as close as you can. Backstitch here. Return to the side seam that you started on, flipping your work in the opposite direction so that you can sew up the other peak, ending in the same position as high as you can go, backstitching here. Repeat this process on the V neckline, starting as high as you can on one of the front peaks, sewing down to the center front, pivoting your work and sewing up the other peak. Make sure to backstitch at both the beginning and end of your stitch. You may need to clip into the seam allowance at the center front to prevent the seam allowance from pulling as you're understitching. Snip as close as you can to the stitch line without clipping through any of the stitches.